All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and also good morning for those of you who are on the West Coast. My name is Chris Whitaker, and I'm part of the field development and sales training team along with Sabrina Rare. I'm very happy to be here with you today as we present a very important topic, which is wine tastings. Wine tastings are the lifeline of your business. I don't think I need to tell you guys that, but not only will you have the opportunity to sell, help make an impact, and delight a host with benefits, these are the perfect venues for you to connect with the people who are going to help you expand your impact and help you grow your business. Wine tastings are going to help you fill your calendar faster than anything else, and it will increase your income. I know that to be a fact because when I introduce our speaker today, I'm going to give you guys some stats on her. Wine tastings are also great platforms for building your own team of cause entrepreneurs and for training them. That was something that was very consistent in my business. I would never go alone. I would make sure that that's where I was training people so that people could see that's the kind of business I had where we were bringing people in and training them. And of course, the party or the wine tasting in our case was definitely the platform where everybody was going to be able to do everything they wanted in their business. So have I convinced you guys that wine tastings are important? Well, if I haven't, I know that our guest today is definitely going to convince you. Our guest trainer today is the amazing Kelly Smith, who's a senior director from Redlands, California. Kelly joined Via One Hope in June of 2016, but although she was able to promote to director in March of 2017, Kelly admits that she really didn't do wine tastings until last June. At first, she was frustrated that she couldn't get it right. They were frustrating for her. It just wasn't the favorite part of her business. But after making a few tweaks, she now says that wine tastings are her favorite part of her business. I have to brag on Kelly a little bit. It's pretty amazing that since Kelly decided to conduct wine tastings starting last June, she has consistently been paid at the director level every month. She has increased her earnings significantly and is consistently among the top 25 highest paid CEOs in Via One Hope. Kelly promoted to senior director in November 2017, and she has proudly created over $5,000 in impact from her wine tastings in the past 8 months. I think that's pretty impressive. So congratulations on that, Kelly. We should all congratulate you for that. You're all in for an amazing treat right now as we all learn how Kelly conducts her wine tasting events. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. I hope I can live up to this. All right. It's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about today. So I'm just going to dive right in. And after I'm done kind of walking you guys through what I do as a wine tasting, then Chris and I are going to do a little Q&A. And if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box and we'll grab those after I'm done giving you my little step-by-step. So wine tastings for me are demonstration style. I don't do a display style. So I don't... well, it doesn't matter what I don't do. What I do is basically I conduct a wine tasting as if someone were hopefully gathering. I just went to Napa a little over a month ago, and my favorite part about the experience was gathering together with my friends and family in an intimate setting and having a employee of the winery sit and guide us through the wines that we were tasting. One at a time, gave us some history, all that stuff. And so it's really my goal to recreate that experience for my hosts and their friends and family. Well, I can't remember what I was going to say. It popped in my head, but now it's gone. Okay, so number one, first thing that I do, and we're not going to talk about host coaching, that's a whole nother topic, but the first thing I do is prep myself. And so some of you may recognize this bag. Oh, I got that at Crush last year. That was really when I started firing off this wine tasting business. And so in it, I have all these little files, okay? And in my little files, it kind of goes in order of what I'm going to be doing throughout my wine tasting. the first thing I do before I even start looking at this bag is I get a index card and I create a little run sheet for myself. So on the top line, I'm going to put the first wine, I'm going to skip a line, second wine, skip a line, third wine. And it all fits on an index card because my wine tastings are 6 bottles. And so if I start at the top with the Brut, I usually can get the last wine in on the last line and leave space in between. And the space in between is for my talking points that I am going to cover during my wine tasting. So I want to make sure and remind myself, whatever, if it's the cause partner I need to remind myself of, that goes on there. But typically it's an aspect of the business that I want to talk about during my tasting. And so the first thing is the run sheet. I pack up my little paperwork bag. In my paperwork bag, I have wine tasting note sheets. All of these things are available in VAU. And we can post paths to that if you guys are interested. I also have for myself the varietal tasting notes because that gives me the most detailed information in case someone asks a question and I have it close by and I know right where it is. It's in wine tasting notes, easy to find. I have opportunity brochures. I have host planners and my open dates calendar. I have lead forms, just in case somebody doesn't want to fill out, they want to host a tasting, but they don't want to fill out an order form, and we'll get to that. I have catalogs and event pricing sheets with wine tasting profiles. So I've got the event pricing sheet on the front, and I've got the wine tasting profile on the back, the profile tasting, so that they can kind of see what types of wines they like, and on the front they can find out where those upcharges are. I have order forms, and then in the back I have a couple of catalogs that have the corporate gifting belly band on them, and I'll get to that. So I pack up my paperwork bag. I make sure that I've made enough copies so that every guest, I've touched base with my host, found out how many people are going to be there, make sure that I have enough copies for everyone, maybe a couple extra just in case. And then I also have my little supplies bag. And in my little supplies bag, I have pens. I have my bottle opener because that's going to be part of my presentation. And I have a business card holder and business cards. And I left this at my last host's house, so I can't even show it to you guys, and I'm so bummed out. A bell. And when I say bell, I mean like ring my bell. I have a little bell that I found at the Dollar Tree, and it says ring for wine, and I bring that with me too, and we'll get to why. So I've got my supplies bag, I've got my paperwork bag, and then I've got a few display items, just a few, because I use a hard-sided file box tote that I found at Office Depot for $20. So it's just over file box size. And so I don't have a lot of room in that thing, and I don't want to, but I don't want to take any more than that. I don't want to overwhelm myself. So I call up my trolley. I load up my trolley with all my supplies. I always bring a glitter bottle or a shimmer bottle. Okay, that's good to have. I try to bring, if I have one of my corporate branding customers was kind enough to give me one of his boxes, mostly because he wanted his brand in everybody's home that I visit. So if you've got someone that would benefit from that kind of exposure, ask them if they can give you one of their branded boxes. So I have a wood branded box if I have it. If not, then I would just have a plain One Hope wood box, single bottle, so that when it comes time to talk about corporate gifting, I can bring that up. And then I'll have one craft box gift set. Okay, so I've got 3 to pick from. This one's Birthday Babe. I've also got the Celebration box, and I've also got a Wolf box. So I'll pick one kind of based on who I know is going to be there and what I think they're going to be interested in. But I'm only going to bring one because, like I said, my trolley doesn't have a ton of room. So that is what I do to prep myself to get ready for my wine tasting. So I'm going to now drive to the host's house, and I'm going to arrive 30 minutes early. And in that time, I'm going to just find a little bit of space that I can set up my display, my glitter bottle, my single wood box, and my gift set that I brought, and put my business cards in a little rack right next to that. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is I have my pourers in a plastic container like this. And the minute, it's empty right now, but the minute I walk through the host door, after I greet her and find out, the first thing I do before I set up my display is I fill this with water. Because if you've tried using these dry, you'll know that they just don't work. If you will give them a good 15, 20 minute soak in water, they work so much better. So I keep them in a tote, or I keep them in a plastic container, and I fill it with water as soon as I get through the door before I set up my display. And then I'm going to act as a host with my host. So I'm going to let her know up front that I'm going to be getting started 15 minutes after the official start time that was on her invitation. So if she says everybody's coming at 5, then I'm going to let her know. My target is to start this wine tasting at 5:15. If we have to go a little bit longer, I do use the bottleneckers, Kelly. We will get to that. You'll see. I'll go a little bit longer if it seems like there's still a lot of guests that are expected. But primarily, I tell them, at 5:15, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if people show up late, that's totally fine. They can hop in right where we are, and I will catch them up after the tasting is concluded. I'll make sure that they hear all the information that they need. So as the guests arrive, I'll open the door. If my host is busy with her other guests, I want to make her life as easy as possible. So I'll answer the door. I'll greet her guests. I'll let them know who I am. I'm Kelly. I'm the One Hope rep that will be sharing these wonderful wines with you today, and I'm so happy to meet you. What's your name? How do you know the host? You can put your purse down. She's set aside some space in her office. Go ahead and put your purse in there, and then join us in the dining room. We're going to pour you a little bit of bubbly. So as everybody arrives, they're going to get a little bit of bubbly, and then they're going to get one thing from me. And that is the wine tasting note sheet. And I do these on half sheets. I do 2 on a sheet, and I cut them in half, and they get this little wine tasting note sheet, and they get a pen that says One Hope on it. Okay. They're going to get this with their bottle of bubbly, and they're going to look at it, and they're going to start getting curious. Why does it say cause on there? Like, I've seen these before, and I get varietal and aroma and taste, but why does it say cause? Ooh, you're going to love that part. I'm going to share that with you in just a few minutes. So enjoy your brute, and I'll be letting you know. It's a really exciting part of who we are and what we do. At 1/4 I'm going to ring my little bell, and I'm going to invite everyone to find a place to sit and get started. I like to do a very strong opening, is what I call it, and it consists of thanking the host for letting us all gather, reminding everybody there, or letting everybody there know, did you know that today is a fundraiser? Jennifer has chosen the Beloved Foundation to be the recipient of 10% of sales here at the wine tasting today. But we'll get to that. We'll get to the sales part later. Don't stress about that. But Jennifer would love to share with you guys why she chose the Beloved Foundation. If my host is nervous and she doesn't want to talk in front of everyone, I'll talk to her in advance, and I'll know that. And I'll go ahead and share for her if she would like me to do that. But most hosts are very enthusiastic about getting to share their cause with their guests. So I've introduced myself. I've thanked the host. I'm going to go through quickly logistics. We have already tried one wine. We've got 5 more wines to go. I'm going to do a 1 ounce pour for each of you of each of the wines. And we're just going to go one after another. It'll be fun. You guys are going to have a great time. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what makes One Hope unique, and why we're trying One Hope varietals here today. And I'm going to either launch into the One Hope story myself, because I've watched the video 100 times and I have it memorized like the back of my hand, or I'm going to bring my laptop and I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to show that video to the guests so that they can hear from Jake himself and Tiffany and some of the other members of the team how great a company it is and what makes us unique and sets us apart. If I have a group that I think I can also do This Is a Tree and then just do a little follow-up and explain a little bit more about that. And then I'm going to roll into the brute and talk about the cause and share a little bit about it. So here's where the Necker thing comes in, Kelly. If I'm at a wine tasting and I'm presenting this wine, I'm going to hold it to the group with the label facing out, and I'm going to hang the Necker on with the Necker part. I don't have Neckers because my kit came and I didn't get any 2 years ago. So for those of you who have Neckers, you are super blessed. So I'm going to hang the Necker part on, but I'm going to have it face me so that I can read what I need to read about that wine. That's the bulk of what I'm going to share about the wine. So I'm going to share a little bit about the flavor profile and that kind of thing. If I get those in-depth questions while I'm presenting the wine, I'll say that is a great question. I'm going to check on that and I'll get back to you. And then I will go and consult my varietal info notes, okay, so that I can answer the question, hopefully. And if I can't, I'll let them know, you know what, I don't have that information with me, but I'm going to check with our director of wine. And as soon as she gets back to me with an answer to your question, I'll forward that to you by email. So let me get your email before I leave. So I'm going to face the bottle to them, and I'm going to share that information with them. And it's and then when I go to pour it, I'm going to pull the Necker off and walk around the room and pour it. Okay, just to obviously do not use a pour spout on these brutes. Okay, they will explode off, and it will be very unprofessional for us. So don't put a pour spout on brute. Every other wine, that's fine, but bubbly wine, don't use a pour spout. Just eyeball it a little bit. And then I'm going to basically go wine commercial, wine commercial, wine commercial. And what kind of things do I want to talk about in my commercials? Well, I've got my paperwork file here. So what I'm going to be focusing on are different aspects of the business. And I'm going to talk about, I've got this here for you so you can see. I'm going to talk about corporate gifting. I'm going to talk about buying presents for people that you love. I'm going to talk about weddings. I'm going to talk about the opportunity. I'm going to let everybody there know that if they think that it looks like what I'm doing is a lot of fun, or they think they could do a better job than me, they're right on both accounts. And let's talk about that. I'm going to talk about Wine Club. And I'm going to bring this Wine Club insert with me because I joined the Wine Club so I could have the experience that my guests are having, or that my customers are having. So I went ahead and joined to get that. Not saying that you have to. There's lots of printables that you guys can use in the back office to sell Wine Club. So I'm going to talk about Wine Club. I've also got some great, I saved the card that we were sent at Christmas time so I can give updated stats. And I'm going to talk about hosting. So I'll have my little calendar maybe, or I'll just say, you guys, it's already, it's only halfway through February and I'm already booking April. So if this is something that you're thinking about doing with your friends and family, highly encourage you to let's talk today about putting a date down, because I don't want you to miss out on the date that you want. And organizing your time is another one, another altogether training that we can talk about another time. Okay, so I've done my wines, I've done my commercials, I've walked through it. Also, one thing I forgot to add when I'm setting up my display at the very beginning, I open the wines and get those smart Neckers in. I'm not smart Neckers, those pour spouts in right away, because I want to be the one pouring the wine and I don't want my host guests helping themselves to it. And so I put the spouts in right away and I keep the wine close to me. And that's so that I can continue to facilitate the wine tasting in a way that promotes what I would like to promote that day. Because let's be honest, it's my job. It's my job to be there. It's my job to facilitate a wine tasting. I don't feel bad about that. Everybody gets it. They know that that's why I'm there. So, but I use those to my advantage too later on, and I'll tell you how I use that to my advantage. Okay, so before I pour the final wine, this is kind of my closing pitch, so to speak. I'm going to let them know that I'm going to pass out before the closing, before the final wine. I'm going to take a couple minutes to pass out that event pricing sheet with the wine profile, tasting menu, and an order form to each person. And once everybody's got one of those, I'm going to ring my bell and I'm going to let them know that I'm about to pour the final wine, but I'd like to go over how we order. At that point, do whatever works for you. If you want to talk about the different price points of wine, that's a great place to talk about it. Full price is $20. You're going to enjoy a discount here today. Jennifer enjoyed an even deeper discount because she hosted, or I get wine for free all the time because this is what I do for my job. But I'm going to go over the order form with them, which gives me the opportunity to really address some key things before I completely lose their attention. I let them know that shipping is very important, that we be accurate with shipping. UPS is our shipping partner, and they will not leave alcohol on your porch. Boo-hoo, I know it's so sad. I wish they would, but they just don't. It's against the law. So I need you to make sure you give me an address where someone 21 or over is going to be when that wine is delivered. I also need your date of birth. Because it's alcohol, I've got to enter that information. And if that makes you feel weird, I am happy to share my birthday with you if you will be happy to share yours with me. So just kind of be punchy about it, just make it fun. And then at the bottom gives me the opportunity to share with them that I take debit or credit only. Unfortunately, I'm not able to take cash or check. I am able to take debit or credit only. So that information goes down here. Now I'd like to draw your attention to this box at the top. And we've got some information here that you can take a look at. It says, I'm interested in hosting a tasting. Remember, I told you that I'm already booking April. So if you're interested, mark that box. And when you check out, we'll talk about it. Corporate gifting. You saw the wonderful gifts that we have available. And if you own a business or someone you know owns a business, mark that box. Let me know about them. And then I'm going to move over to Quarterly Wine Club and say, if you enjoyed all of the wines that you had here today and you'd like to try even more and be surprised and delighted every quarter with some wonderful One Hope wines, it's a mix of core wines and reserve varietals and special swag just for club members. Mark that box. I'll send you some information or we can talk about that today. And then becoming a CEO. What is a CEO? Well, I'm a CEO. I'm a cause entrepreneur via One Hope. That's what they call this position with the company. And again, if you're looking at me and thinking, I want to do this or I can do this better, I promise you can. It's not hard. It's a lot of fun. It's the best side hustle ever. So mark that box and let's grab coffee. And then I'll let them know. So you get to order, you get to mix and match your case for a cause or your half case for a cause. And so all you have to do is list out the wines that you want. A half case is 6, a full case is 12. When I do wine tastings, those are the terms that I sell in, is half and full case. If you have a gift, if you have somebody that has an occasion coming up and you'd like to have a gift, I brought some catalogs. You guys are more than welcome to take a look at those and peruse our gifts. Remember, you saw the one that we have. They're gorgeous. They're well packaged. It's a great experience to receive a gift from One Hope. So by all means, take a look and you can list that on here as well. And then once you're done filling that out, I'll do the math for you. And then you'll see your wine in just a few days. It really comes really, really fast. So you guys are going to love that. And then I'm going to give them their final pour of wine. And I'm going to be available to answer questions. I'm going to go kind of just walk around, check with people, see how they're doing. I'll be honest in that it's 50-50 whether or not I have an actual checkout station, but I try to give personalized service because this is about my host and her guests. And I want them to have a positive experience where they're going to want to have me in their house, in their house, and in their house, and in their house. And so I'll kind of feel out the room and see if people start, if I'm standing in a location that I've kind of chosen as my checkout station where my supplies are and where my display is, and people start coming to me, that's awesome. But if I'm standing there and no one's coming to me and they're starting to, I'm starting to lose the room, so to speak, I will go from person to person and just, check in with them and try and give really good customer service. How's it going? Do you got any questions for me? Is there anything I can help you with? Would you like to see a catalog? Would you like to pick out a gift or something like that? Some tips and tricks. I already went over that I always sell in terms of full and half case. That's part of my closing. That's part of my pitch throughout with the fundraising. This is Case for a Cause. It's fully customizable. It's mix and match. You get to choose. You get to pick whatever wines you want in there. Mix it up to your heart's content. And if someone asks me if I sell single bottles of wine, of course, I'm going to be honest and tell the truth. But yes, absolutely. If you just want to order a single bottle of wine, you are more than welcome to do that. I just need you to know that it will not count towards Jennifer's fundraiser today. And it's really the highest cost per bottle that we have available. There's better ways to get the wine at a discount. But if that's what you're here to do and that's what you're interested in, by all means, I can do that for you. And if you're as Chris kind of planted this seed in my head, but if you're thinking about it as a gift, I might be able to find a gift set that has that wine in it that would make it, kind of round out your gift a little bit more. So that is one way. Another thing to remember is don't get flustered. It's wine. You pour 2 ounces of wine and people act like they had 2 bottles. It's insane. They just start getting kind of crazy. They can be kind of rude. I had some women over the weekend, even I had rang my bell, and I would say 80% of the people quieted and were watching me and listening to what I had to say. But there were 2 women standing right in front of me carrying on a conversation with each other at full volume. I just didn't make eye contact with them, and I made eye contact with the people that were making eye contact with me. They all got that was rude. I didn't need to make it known that this was like, oh my gosh, shut up, be quiet. I'm trying to talk to you. You're so mean. Don't let it bother you. And honestly, if you start to lose the entire room, think about working the room in clusters. So usually there will be 2, 3, 4 people that have kind of snuggled in together and they're getting to know each other, or they're talking because they haven't seen each other in a while, because honestly, this is a party for them. So maybe consider, if you can't get the room to come back to you, consider taking the wine over and your prop, whatever it is, your talking point, and just go to that cluster and just talk to that cluster, and then move on to the next cluster and move on to the next cluster. But don't give up. Don't throw in the hat. Don't get discouraged. Adapt and overcome. And then the final thing is where those pour spouts come in really handy is if the ordering is taking a while and people are kind of dragging their feet on that because, again, they've now had 6 ounces of wine and they're acting like they had 6 bottles. I will let them know that the pour spouts come off when I leave. So this wine is going to be open to all of you. I'm going to take my pour spouts and I'm going to get out of here because I want you guys to finish enjoying each other's company. So let's get those orders in so I can get those pour spouts off and you guys can have a great time and I can get back to, back home or whatever. So that is my wine tasting 101.
Wow. Well, that's awesome, Kelly. Thank you so much. Look at Kim clapping. I think y'all really appreciated your tips and taking us through your wine tasting. It's I love some of the things that you say. I love the fact that you talk about how you can get wine at a discount, whether it's Case for a Cause or by the host gets it even cheaper, or if you're like me, I do this for a living, I get this for free. I think that's a great way to talk about the different services that we offer and the way that people can buy. I love how you incorporated Wine Club into the presentation. And I think your tip of having the CEOs become wine club people themselves is not a bad tip, because when you are a subscriber to Wine Club, I mean, you're going to be able to get things ahead of time too, and you're going to have those great brochures. I mean, I want that brochure that you have. That's cool. So, and it's a great way for you to be able to show your customers what they're going to get for Wine Club. So I do have a couple questions for you, and then we'll go to the chat room, see if there's any questions, and we'll open it up for questions as well. Can you give us an example of one of your commercials?
Ooh, yes.
How about a booking one?
Which one? Booking?
Yeah, because I think that, I don't know if I remember hearing you tell me yesterday about what you say to get bookings.
So I touch on it in the middle, and then I touch on it again at the end, because I think they need to hear it more than once. I let them know I will, it's usually maybe 3 or 4 wines in, because I want to have it more towards the end, because bookings is really important to keeping my business going. So I hope you guys are having a good time. Are you guys having fun? Are you enjoying the wines? I'm so glad. I absolutely love sharing these wines with new people. It's the way that we get the word out. We have decided as a company that this is the very best way that we can get our product into your household, is by having a wine tasting and bringing someone like myself into your home. If you think that this is something that you would like to share with your friends and family, or if you have a cause that you really, really care about and you'd like to raise some extra money for them, please talk to me today. I really am already booking my April and May, and it's only February. So I book up really fast, and I want to make sure that you get a date that works for you and your guests. So don't forget to talk to me about that.
Perfect. That's so simple, and you create the sense of urgency so that you get that date and that commitment right now. Even if you have to pencil that person in before they can consult their calendar, which today almost everybody has their calendar on their phone, so they can do it, right? That's right. That's right. So how many tastings do you book from each of your wine tasting?
I would say I always replace the existing one.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Oftentimes I'll get 2 or 3, but I would say very consistently I'm getting 1 to 2. And even if I get 2 to 3, we all hopefully understand that they can fall off. So I like to get 2, because I know there's a pretty good chance that one of them is going to fall off and not follow through. So, but always replacing that booking with another booking.
Okay, well, that's great. And we could probably talk on a side note about how to get those bookings to stick.
Mm-hmm. That's a coaching thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Well, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and open it up for everybody else? And Absolutely. Let me see what's in the chat room first, okay? And I'm also going to unmute everybody. So, okay, you're all unmuted. So if you do have background noise, if you could mute yourself, that would be fantastic. And let me see what's in the chat room. Okay, so Jen asks, she's often wondered, but she keeps on forgetting.
Let's mute.
Yeah, I just muted. I often wondered, but keep forgetting to look into it. Is there a benefit for the host if they get a booking credited to their party?
At this time, there is not. I don't know the inside scoop on if there's any changes on that coming down, but by all means, you have marketplace credit through your Business Boost points. You can offer something to your host if that's something that you find is valuable to get them to book. Myself personally, I used to do a lot. I used to pay for their tax and shipping, and then I lived on the West Coast and shipping was only $10, and then last July it went up to $20 nationwide, which is great. It's still fine, but I used to pay that, and I don't pay that anymore. I used to, do stuff like that, but honestly, I'm really trying to bring such a great event to my guests and to that host that in and of itself is the benefit. We're giving them a great price on wine. We're donating to their favorite charity, and we're giving them a shopping credit that they're going to enjoy at the end. And so I feel really good. And I have not had anybody, I've had one person in the last 8 months say, if I book today, does Susie get something?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then I'll tell her, yeah, I'm going to take good care of her. Don't you worry about that.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Great way to handle that. And, you know, today there's a lot more companies that aren't doing an additional benefit for the host, because sometimes that host will feel obligated to have to purchase from the next party or the next tasting. And so, but there's a lot of different ways that we can shower our host with love and thank yous for, you know, choosing the impact. And
I always do a handwritten thank you note as well.
Perfect. I love that. It goes very, very far. So Katie also asked if you have any recruiting tips of how you do maybe a recruiting commercial or how you talk about the opportunity during your wine tasting. She says she has a full house coming on Sunday. So
that's great.
Timely information for her.
That is great, Katie. I think it's important to just keep sprinkling it in, and in terms of how much fun you're having. And how it's one of the things that I'll say is that we're a rapidly growing company, and we have a goal of tripling our impact this year. And it takes an army of storytellers or an army of whatever you want to call yourself to do that. And it's such an easy thing to get started in. Please come and talk to me. If you're looking at me and you're thinking that you could do what I do, I'm telling you that you can. There is nothing complicated about this. It's just straight up fun. One of the things I might bring up is we have an annual conference in July, and part of that conference is we drink wine. Wine is a very important part of that conference. I'll share that I get paid in cash and wine. So if they like the wine, that's another reason to get involved with us. So just share the benefits, keep sprinkling the benefits in. And again, I always end my square with becoming the CEO, because I kind of want that to be the last thing that they hear, is that don't forget, you can do this too. So that's my answer to that.
I love that. You know, Kelly, you know, there's a few things that you did. You were very casual, comfortable. You were yourself. I think that when you're talking to people, you're very natural and you're believable. And it's really, really important to not be perfect, to
Yes.
show people that you can do this, and to not drop a whole bunch of, you know, wild words that, you know, you don't know how to pronounce or you don't know what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that important. So obviously, because you've had so much success with doing your wine tastings, and you're averaging 4 a month right now, and that's fantastic. Going out once a week is really going to grow your business well. So
with sales averaging close to 1,000 every time I go out and do a tasting, it's close to 1,000. So
wow.
This style of wine tasting is working really, really well for me.
Great. Well, does anyone else have any more questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So when you host a party or you present to the host the hostess package for the half a case or the whole case, do you offer the case for cause to the host or just the regular host package?
That is a great question, Kim, and I'm so glad that you asked it. I offer them the one host package. So their first package can be the host package. If they want additional wine, then that goes up to Case for a Cause. But it's a benefit of hosting is to get that discount. Mm-hmm. And my target market is people who already drink wine on a regular basis, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm really conscious when I'm booking. Sorry, I'll call you right back. I'm really conscious of listening to the questions that I'm being asked, right, about the tasting. If I hear words like gosh, I don't really drink a lot of wine. I don't really know anybody that drinks wine. I'll be completely transparent. That might not be a booking that I take, because I just feel like it takes people that already know that are already drinking wine, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
People that don't know anything about wine, and I mean, maybe it depends on the circumstances, but because I'm going after those full case and half case sales, I really try and ask questions to find out what kind of situation I'm going to find myself in. But yeah, I always do the host case.
Yeah, it's such a great deal, really. And it's a great way to, I lost my voice. It's a great way to thank your hostess by giving her the very best discount that we offer. And I always look at it as that it's that benefit that typically when someone goes to a party and they have host rewards, that happens after the party where they can get something for half price or for a deep discount. And we get to do that for our host up front. And so that's a tremendous benefit she gets she or he gets for hosting.
And I think too, Kim, if you want to offer Case for a Cause and say, if you want to be the first person to raise funds for your favorite charity, you can buy it at Case for a Cause price. That's fine. I'm not going to stop you, but you do have this great opportunity to get the wine at a really great price.
Yeah, that's a great question. Great answer, Kelly. All right. Anyone else?
Can I ask one more if no one else?
Yeah,
of course.
So I usually host like really big events in the higher end apartment communities, which
Awesome.
I find is not very effective.
Okay.
Like the bell, I'm going to get me a bell today.
I love that
very
bell.
rowdy.
Yes, it's a great tool.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. But you're right. But you do have that couple on the side that they're just rude and just keep
ignore them.
Pretty loud. I do ignore them. But it doesn't seem to be very effective, only because these are people that live there in the building. So when they come down, they're not prepared to purchase. And it's something that the apartment complex is hosting for them. So they're the one they're the host.
Right.
So they're not really prepared to come and purchase wine. So they don't have their purses with them. So it's not very effective. I have I've done 4 so far. I just did one last night and we didn't really get any, we're not getting any sales from it.
Okay.
So
I have thoughts on this. Do you want to hear them?
Yes.
Okay. Your apartment complex isn't bringing you in to do a wine tasting. They're bringing you in to provide a service to their, a perk to their people.
Right.
They're not hosting a wine tasting. So what I would say to that is, yes, they need to buy Case for a Cause wine from you. And if it were me, I would be there trying to get bookings from those residents. I wouldn't be there to sell. I would be there to book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would share information on how they can have a private guided wine tasting featuring One Hope varietals of wine in the comfort of their own home with their family and friends. That's a tasting.
Yes.
What you're being asked to do is not a tasting.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I present it to the complex, I present it as a tasting, and then like maybe the third one that I do see that this is not a sales party. So I do like really, really, really focus on the booking part. And I've gotten 2 bookings so far from so many people, because I think last night it was maybe 30 people, and then there's 1 potential booking.
Good.
Yeah, or maybe it's better than none.
Yeah. No, one can be worth $1,000 in sales. That's true. Not bad.
So what is your marketing technique or your resource to getting the more private bookings outside of a party?
Once my warm circle, which would be my family and friends, dried up, I went to networking events, right? So Chamber of Commerce, or today I'm going to a women's business women's association. Doing what you're doing at that apartment complex is a fantastic way of, because what you're looking to do is meet new people that want to host wine tastings. It's legwork. It's a slow burn, so to speak. It's something that you have to consistently be faithful to doing and following up on. And then eventually you're going to become recognized. Say at the apartment complex, you've been there, you get one person to have a wine tasting, and they come back to the next one that you do in the lobby or in the foyer or whatever. And they tell everybody, oh my gosh, she was at my house this past month. We had such a great time. It was the best thing. I'm so glad that I did that. And it will start to roll along. It'll start to pick up momentum, but it takes legwork in the beginning. The concept that I would say is it's the difference between hunting and farming. What you're doing at the apartment is farming. You're trying to plant seeds and build relationships so that you can take advantage of that when it eventually begins to take root and grow. Hunting, you're just trying to go in and get sales, right? You're not hunting at that, you're farming.
Right, okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
That's a great answer, Kelly. And I love that, because I keep thinking, well, farming is investing. And so you're investing in your business. So I think it's a great venue for you, but going in with a different perspective. And then it would be kind of nice if the apartment complex owners realize that this is an activity where they can actually help brand themselves, and maybe they can become more involved in designating a 501(c) that they can donate to, and get their residents involved in that and promote it ahead of time as that kind of a venue.
They do.
Even, in the beginning of the event, I'll have one of the leasing agents or whoever the event coordinator is announce their cause and give them background about their cause. And then they when they do their flyers, they'll put the cause on their flyers. So they promote it as a fundraiser type deal. So they're very involved. I just wish the people would book a party.
But I feel like they're coming for happy hour.
Yeah,
they are.
They're coming after work. It's the weekly happy hour that the complex is offering. And so that's where the interview process goes. And okay, so this isn't turning out exactly how I thought it would. How can I tweak this? What can I go after? Like, don't give up. Just get back in there, get your tools on, figure out how to make this, because I think you're onto something that could be really, really good for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Great job. All right. Well, Kelly, again, thank you so much for everything today. This has been a great call. I'm assuming that we don't have any other questions right now. Is that right? Okay, because this is one of our longer calls, but it's also been an excellent call.
Private message me anytime, Kelly Maureen Smith. You can find me in the community. Private message me if you have questions. I'm more than happy to talk. That's great.
All right, so I would like to close our call today with a couple of housekeeping announcements for you guys, just a couple reminders. Everyone, Kelly is going to be in Arizona actually this weekend doing a sip and share. You just saw her talk and present, so she's going to do a great job presenting that. So if you know of anyone who's interested in the Phoenix area, I would definitely have them get in touch with Kelly to learn more about that. I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be joining Katie, Sabrina, and Adri in Las Vegas this weekend for a regional training. So yay, yes. And Mari will be in Littleton, Colorado for a wine education on Saturday. So some of you guys I know are headed there. There's really lots of opportunities to experience Via One Hope this weekend. And we hope that you guys can get out and see us there. Also, keep in mind our amazing host appreciation gift this month. This gift includes one charm bracelet, a wine key, and a bubble stopper, which is a $39 value with all $300 qualifying events. And don't forget, in order for your order to be eligible, or for your host to receive their free gift, I should say, make sure that you put in the code FEBGIFT in the rewards box when you're doing your host order. That's super important. Finally, Crush registration is open and everyone is invited to attend. Early bird registration is only $199 until March 31st. And for those of you who might be new on this call, Crush is our annual convention, and it is an experience that is not to be missed. It's a rare chance for everybody's going to get together, and that's from the company. You're going to be able to meet the founders, members of the home office team, as well as some of the most successful leaders in the company. We will have celebrity speakers as well as focused training, and we are going to have track levels for each level of CEO. So anywhere from a newbie to a seasoned leader, we're going to be able to take care of you guys. In addition, we have a Crush incentive so that you guys can earn great swag along the way. You could also have an opportunity to join the leaders in Napa on July 11th or Leader Day on July 12th. So be sure to check out the incentive, map out your plan of how you can achieve it. It is still very achievable. We're only in February, so I want you guys to really take a look at that. Reach out to me or reach out to your director or your mentor, and let's make a plan together because we really want everybody to earn the Crush incentive. Check out the Vine that came out on Tuesday for the links to Crush, or you can visit the official Crush website, which is www.viacrush.com. Again, thank you, Kelly. We can't wait to see what you do in 2018. You've had an amazing 8 months, and thank you all for joining us. Have a strong finish to February and have fun doing your wine tastings. Thanks again. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.